Hi everyone, it's Jess from EVPL, and I am here with another project for our Foraging for Your Home series. This month we are making natural fire starters. The materials list is pretty simple. I foraged all of the materials aside from egg carton crates, cotton wicking, and soy wax. So join me in making this simple, easy, natural fire starter. First thing you want to do is get an egg carton. This will be really handy because what we're basically going to do is just fill each individual egg slot with pieces of natural material like pine cone pieces, parts of some greenery that we can clip off. We're also going to put some dried orange slices in there just to give it a little bit more of a better aesthetic. So you'll want to collect some egg cartons, and if you want to make a bunch of them, it's pretty easy to collect some egg cartons. Just ask some friends, family, anybody who has eggs if you can hold on to their corrugated egg carton. So yeah, let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start snipping some pieces of my pine cones, my orange slices, and my natural greenery, which I actually used from my holiday tree this year. I just kept a little bit of it and waited for the time to repurpose it. So yeah, here we go. So I'm just gonna cut some little pieces off the greenery. You don't want to make them too big because the slots that they're gonna go into aren't terribly, terribly big. What's good about these is the dryness of them will make them nice and flammable. So should act as good kindling for your fire starter. Let's see, I'm gonna start with that and see how far we can go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take these little pieces, put them in my egg cartons. Now we're gonna fill these egg cartons with as much natural material as you want. Just keep in mind, once we fill all the carton slots, we need to have enough room to get some wax poured in, so we have that that igniter opportunity. So I've got about two pieces of 1-inch greenery in each of my slots here. So now I'm going to take some pine cones. Here I'm just going to go ahead and rip part of these little pieces of the pine cone off. This will act sort of similar to the greenery. It's nice and dry and just gives an option for a little bit more flammable material, because we don't want every little pod to be fully all wax, because that won't really get our fires started as well. So we want something that's going to act as a natural kindling. So I'm just making a mess, but I'm just cutting some of these pieces off so I can go ahead and get enough in my little pods here. I'm probably going to do about the same thing, where I do about two per piece. So I hope you don't mind making a mess. You may consider doing this part of your project outside, so whatever nature bits fly off, they can just be outside and not make a mess in your house. Just go from there. I'm just filling them up. I'm not even through one whole pine cone yet, and I'm already filling pretty much every single pod up with what I need. So essentially we might be able to get a set of 12 individual fire starters with just a pine cone, 1 branch of greenery, and some orange slices. That's a pretty good deal if you ask me. Alright, so now I've got my pods filled up with some greenery and some pine cone pieces. I'm going to add some orange slices just for a little bit of texture. Be nice to have them maybe add a little beauty to to the pods here, and they might also give off a nice aroma once you light them. Briefly, you might smell something, but just makes it a little bit prettier, a little bit earthier, gives it a little bit of substance. And I'm honestly just putting one per pod in here. Very pretty. I don't know if you can really see it, but just kind of layered your pieces all together in your pods. So now what you want to do, one more step before you go ahead and pour the wax. You want to take your wicking, which is just cotton wicking, which I've primed with wax. So basically I melted some wax flakes in the microwave, dipped this cotton wicking in, and let the wax dry up all around it. That's how I made my own wick. So I'm going to cut some wicking pieces, probably about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches if you're worried you won't have enough length to get your fire starters started. But I'm gonna go ahead and go about 1.5 inches. Again, these pods are not very big, so we don't have a lot of room to play with. So here I've cut about a dozen little length wicks. So now what we need to do, and this is going to be the kind of a trickier part, is you need to figure out a way to sandwich your wick with the natural materials that you've already put in your pots. So here you can see I'm trying to just use my little materials to kind of hold that wick up straight. That way when I go to pour my wax in, we'll have a wick available to light. So basically we're just going to do that. It can get a little tedious, but you get the idea. We don't want to cover the wick completely with the wax, because then we will have nothing to light. If you need to, you can always add more natural material to your pod. After doing this for just a little bit, I will say that greenery is a nice sort of boost to keep your wick in place. So maybe just sandwich it between some greenery, and that'll help keep it up. All right, we're almost done here. It's kind of like you're building a house with a deck of cards. It's not exactly well balanced, but you get the picture. And I need one more length for one more pod. All right, I've got everything sort of laid out here. Now all I need to do is fill up each pod with the desired amount of wax. So again, these are just soy wax flakes that I microwaved in the microwave. I did it in 2-minute increments, and then you just stir and get them. You want to get the wax as melted as you can. This is just a nice, simple soy wax. So I'm just going to go ahead and start slowly pouring the wax in the pods. And you will find that the egg carton kind of acts as a vessel. So I'm pouring over here and it's already starting to kind of fill up all of the other cartons. So I'm just checking to see if anything's leaking. I think we're doing okay. Oh, this is going to be pretty. As you're pouring, just make sure your wicks don't go under the wax, because then you'll get into some trouble and you won't have anything to light. And that's the whole point of these fire starters, is being able to get a fire started. So we need to be able to have that wicking in order to ignite it later. All right. Oops. So it looks like I lost one wick, so I'm going to go ahead and improvise and hopefully get another one in here. Okay. Everything, checking every pod. It looks like we have an ability to get to every single wick, so that should be good. I'm just going to pour a little bit more to try and get the pods to be as substantial as they can be. All right, you probably can't see this, but I will give you a close-up once this is all nice and dry. Okay, so I've filled all of the egg pods up with wax, and I let them sit for about an hour so far. And here's what it looks like about an hour into the drying time. You're probably going to want to let them dry overnight, maybe 12 to 24 hours at least, just to get them to cure. And you may want to let them dry a little bit longer. But once they are all cured, what I would suggest, the reason that we made them in the egg cartons in the first place, is so you can take some scissors and just cut one out at a time. That way, one egg carton makes a dozen fire starters. So there you have it. We were able to turn one pine cone, a few little twigs of branches, and 1 or 2 orange slices into 12 fire starters. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and be sure to check out previous projects online. Thanks.